I want to say first and foremost that this decision has weighted heavily on myself. I think the past couple of hours have shown this courtroom and whoever is watching that what occurred here was a tragedy. It should not have happened. And no matter what this court does, it's not going to restore the loss that your family has gone through and what your family will continue to go through. And I want to recognize that loss. The fact that there are the amount of people, the amount of letters, the amount of outreach on behalf of your son in his short life, the fact that so many people cared about him and loved him and are here to support him is something that everyone in this courtroom can say that we don't see it often. And his life was taken way too soon. And the court recognizes the profound impact that loss has had. And I want to make sure I emphasize that. The court also recognizes that Ms. Malik, you are young. You are a young woman, but youth does not excuse what occurred that day.
Sure did not excuse my indiscretions. Welcome to another episode, everyone. Teen killer learns her fate. This young girl here is a knife-wielding individual. She stabbed her boyfriend to death. And now she's been found guilty. The families have previously clashed right there inside of this very courtroom. Her family and the victim's family. So her boyfriend, he was a young man as well, as the judge just indicated. They were together. She tried at first to say that it was an accident and basically that he ran into the knife. Come to find out, it was very gruesome. And you would think that someone looking like her, could not commit such a horrific crime because she looks rather young and rather innocent, the young lady there and with the glasses on. The judge is about to stick it to her, but many individuals do not agree with the sentence that she ended up getting. And the family is extremely traumatized and upset.
The law takes it into account and recognizes that it is your youth that affects your decision-making and it affected your judgment. But your youth does not excuse the foreseeable consequences of the choices that you made. And Mr. Hanfield, I want to thank the state, I want to thank you, Mr. Hanfield, your representations today, you have all been professional.
He's nervous.
He's
definitely nervous.
You have represented your client.
She don't know what's about to happen right here. She's nervous. She's looking straight ahead, has her eyes open wide. She's paying attention. I'm sure she was told to do all of these things, sit up straight, etc. It's a game, unfortunately, inside these courtrooms sometimes. The judge starts off sounding pretty steadfast and relentless, like unflexible, but we'll see.
Represented the state of Florida in the best way possible. And again, it's a difficult decision. And so I first have to rule, Mr. Hanfield, you made a motion for downward departure under 921.0026, both J and L, and I'll address those respectively so that the record is clear. The defense has moved for downward departure based on the offense was committed in an unsophisticated manner and it was an isolated incident for which the defendant has shown remorse. The court will find that the defense has failed to prove by competent and substantial evidence and by preponderance of the evidence that has been met. Although I do believe that you are remorseful, I do not believe that this was an isolated incident of aggression towards the victim based on the evidence that was presented here in court. And I also do not believe that this was done in an unsophisticated manner. And the reasons why the court finds that is the most dispositive evidence of what occurred that day was the medical examiner's report. And reading that medical examiner's report, and understanding that that was a 4-inch blade that was lunged into the chest near the heart, and it pierced a hoodie, it pierced a t-shirt, it pierced skin, it pierced tissue, it pierced muscle, it fractured a rib, and it ultimately pierced the heart. The amount of force that was required to inflict that wound was not accidental. There is uncontradicted evidence regarding that report, the testimony regarding that injury.
Dang.
And I understand that Ms. Malik, upon the incident occurring, indicated at one point that it was a result of horseplaying, at another point indicated that she had her phone out, and Mr. Lawler ran into the knife. Those explanations are contradicted by the medical examiner's report.
Clearly, that's the father. I won't, well, maybe not clearly, but some big brother, uncle, I'm assuming that's the father of the young man who lost his life during this brutal attack. I would assume that this is the mother. And the father, as we can see, became emotional when the judge started alluding to the fact that this individual's wounds were graphic, that the knife penetrated everything, all the way to his heart, to his rib, and etc. And then she says that they were horseplaying, and that's how it happened. And then she said that he ran into the knife. She was on the phone, and that he just ran into the knife. He ran into the knife to the point where it fractured his rib. It went through everything. That's how fast he was running. Oh my goodness. Yes, no, that answer does not suffice. That answer does not make sense. I don't know what happened there, but that answer doesn't make sense, that he ran into the knife. Clearly it didn't make sense to the jury because she was convicted and is now getting sentenced. But man, do better.
And so for this court, the court needs to look into the intent behind that and the foreseeable consequence of pulling out a knife, aiming it at someone, and subsequently stabbing them in the area where you have multiple layers to protect you. You have your skin, you have your clothes, you have your ribs. And the force that was used penetrated all of those and resulted in the fatal injuries that the victim sustained. So under that ground, the court finds that the defense has not met its burden by competent substantial evidence. The other ground that the defense is relying upon regarding motion for downward departure is 921.0026. Under L, the defendant is to be sentenced as a youthful offender. The court has found that the defense has met their burden by competent substantial evidence that Ms. Malik does qualify for youthful offender, but despite the court finding that she does qualify, there's a 2-factor test, and that is whether or not the court can impose it, and the court finds that the court can impose it. The second factor is whether or not the court should impose it. And that's where this court has grappled, and this court has evaluated and analyzed, and I have gone over all the materials. Not today, I've gone over it the weeks that it was presented to me. And the court has essentially come to the conclusion that because the sentence in this case must reflect the seriousness of what occurred, and because the sentence must reflect accountability, as well as the importance of protecting the public, the court cannot ignore the fact that a life was lost and the manner in which that life was taken. So at this time, though the court can impose youthful offender, the court will not exercise its discretion to impose youthful offender. So then,
okay. Oh man, she still has that same look on her face. She's just sort of blank, emotionless. But I'm sure she's a bit scared in there and nervous, particularly now that the judge has said she's not going to exercise her discretion for the downward departure, mitigating circumstances that can sentence her to a lesser sentence and sentence her as a juvenile under the juvenile law, which means she would not do nothing but a couple of years. The judge said that the severity of the crime, that the sentence must fit the severity of the crime. But again, many people still believe that the sentence did not fit the severity of the crime. Check this out.
What is the appropriate sentence? Ms. Malik, I have taken into account the documents that were presented on behalf of you, the evaluations that were conducted, the testimony that was presented here today, and the court does appreciate the comments that you made here today regarding how remorseful you are. And I think someone said it best, nobody wins here. And hearts are hardened, rightfully so, but one day, hopefully there can be forgiveness towards you. You are very young, and you will still have a life ahead of you. You will still have an opportunity to become the nurse that you want to become, to have a family, to be with your family.
A nurse?
You have deprived Kimo's family of that.
She wants to be a nurse. Meanwhile, she's putting people in the hospital. And people didn't really like the fact that the judge continuously refers to the fact that the lady is young. She is very young, as we can see, a teenager. Nevertheless, she was not very young on that occasion when she took that knife out and penetrated the individual who she purportedly loved. And also a young man. He was also very young. And he's no longer here. He lost his life. Not that I do not have sympathy or empathy for this young girl. I do. But I'm just also thinking of the family and the individual who lost his life in the most horrific of ways.
And for that, there needs to be a punishment. And the primary purpose of the Criminal Punishment Code is first and foremost to punish an individual for the crime that they're accused of, to punish the individual for the crime that they have been found guilty of, and to appreciate what has been lost and the gravity of what occurred. And so, because of that, I do believe that you're amenable to rehabilitation, and I do believe that you will get past this, but you have to be punished for it first.
He won't.
Because they have a life sentence of not having Mr. Lawler with them.
You think?
And I can't overstate the profound impact.
And he has a life
has been
sentence
on
too?
their family, on their community.
He has a life sentence gone. He's no longer here. So he has a life sentence. The family has a lifetime of traumatic grieving constantly over this. Not only did he die, he was killed in the most brutal way. This is horrific for the family, as we can see, as the mother and father sits there and weeps. The judge is talking about her future and how she still has a future in nursing and all of that. And again, I'm not saying that her future should be sniped out, even though his life was. But that's what many people believe.
And the choices that you made affected the trajectory of all of their lives, and it affected the trajectory of yours as well as your families. You come from a very strong family that supports you, and they will support you throughout this. But the court needs to look at what is the appropriate sentence in this case. So at this time, I'm going to ask Ms. Malik to please rise. Ms. Malik, having heard from the state attorney's office, having heard from members of the public, having heard from the families, having heard From the doctors that testified, the court imposes the following sentence. At this time, the court will adjudicate you, Ms. Malik. The court will sentence you to 17 years in Florida State Prison, followed by 5 years of reporting probation. Special condition of that probation, you will have to go a mental health evaluation and abide by any treatment if necessary. You will have to
17 years.
write a letter. December.
Is she crying? Is she about to cry? Look like it. 17 years. The judge did a whole lot of talking, as individuals were saying, a whole lot of talking to end up giving her 17 years. Not saying that that's not a long time. That is a very long time. People have gotten more time for lesser crimes, for stealing a candy bar. So, I don't know. What do you all think? Let me know what you think in the comments. 17 years, that is pretty steep. She's young. She's a teenager. So no older than 19 at this juncture. She's still going to have a healthy chance at life. Be a lot younger than I am right now when she comes home. And she's not going to do the entire 17 years, of course. She's probably looking to do 11, 12 years. If that, the way that these prison systems are set up now and the way that the law works now. So some would say that she got off easy, or at least that she's certainly blessed.
20th of every year that you are on probation, acknowledging what had occurred and how it has affected your life. And I do not take this sentence lightly, Ms. Malik. This is not something that this court wanted to do, but I have to impose a sentence that I believe holds you accountable, recognizes the severity of the offense, and is something that's appropriate in light of everything that I've heard. So at this time, she will be remanded into the custody of the Department of Corrections to serve her sentence. Count 2 will be adjudication, 5 years. Please. 5 years. Then adjudication.
Oh, that's her mother.
I'm going to appoint the office of the public defender.
Judge, 364 for the wisdom.
That was her mother. Oh man, slapping the cuffs on. That was her mother that was crying. Oh, that had her head down at first. That was her mother. I thought perhaps that was the victim's mother. That was certainly the victim's father. He was on the other side of the courtroom. What did her mother put her head down and start crying for when the judge was describing the fact that she wasn't going for her defense, her earlier defense, that he flew into the knife? That's when the mother had put her head down. But I've been through these court situations, unfortunately. They're very traumatic and dramatic for everyone involved. Young girl there, I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm surprised that the family was able to hug her and hold her the way that they were. No, I've never got to hug my family. When I got sentenced, I just got ushered off. That's it. You're cooked. You're done. Bye. The mother hugging her and crying, the father and uncle and somebody hugging her and kissing her and all this. And I understand. That's their baby. 17 years old. Excuse me, got 17 years. I don't know how old she is. They didn't say she's a teen, they said. So perhaps 17, 18. But yeah, she's probably under 18 because she was asking to be sentenced under the juvenile law. She looks like she is. So that's her mother's baby. You know, we can judge, but the mother is going to just see her child there. Not that the mother's not remorseful, but again, these two families did clash in court early on. All right, there you have it. Sentenced to 17 years for the brutal stabbing death of her boyfriend, who was probably also a teenager. She certainly is. Again, some will say that she got off rather easy with 17 years because she's not going to serve the whole 17 years. And he, of course, the boyfriend, is sentenced to life. His life is gone. And the family has a lifetime of turmoil, but she gets 17 years and will do 10 years, 8 years, 9 years, who knows? Many people believe in second chances until it happens to them, and then not so much. What do you all think? Stay safe. Young lady, go do your time, stay out of trouble, and come home. And stay free, people.